Week 6 of the fantasy basketball season, and he has a few guards I would look to trade for or buy low this week in Week 6. The first guy's Victor Oladipo, the new Houston Rocket here. And Oladipo, since he got to Houston in the last week, he's averaging 18 points a game, 4 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 1.3 steals, 1.7 threes, 73% from the field, and an awful 30% from the field. So Oladipo this season, he's not shooting the basketball well from the field. He's hurting fantasy owners in that, and he's turning the ball over about 2.5 times per game on the season, but he's still averaging 20 points. He still has 5.2 rebounds and 4.4 assists total on the season. The only thing with him, like I said, is the percentages, and he's going to miss games here and there. I doubt he's going to play many back-to-backs, if any at all. And he's still got to fit in with this Houston Rocket team, is Oladipo. But Oladipo, I think you could get him on a pretty low price right now. On the season, he's ranked number 78, but in the last couple weeks since the trade here, he's ranked 180. So he's really taken a downfall a little with Oladipo in the ranking in fantasy basketball because of his free throw and field goal, and the turnovers have gone up to 3.5 per game. So right now, if Oladipo's on the block in your league, and you don't got to give up much to get him, he's a guard to go out there and definitely get. The second guard is Lonzo Ball with the New Orleans Pelicans. Ball, he hasn't been that good this season as well, especially his percentages with this Pelican team, and plus he was injured for a couple games, is Ball. And on the season, he's ranked number 147. He's averaging 12 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, 1.3 steals, is Ball. 2.1 threes a game, only 58% from the foul line and 38% from the field. And he also 2.5 turnovers a game, which isn't horrible. But on the last couple weeks, he just hasn't got the job done. He's about stayed the same as Ball. Now there's rumblings that he might get traded, and there's going to be a lot of interest around the NBA trying to trade for Ball if indeed he's really on the trade block from the Pelicans. And right now, if Ball's out there on the trade block in fantasy leagues, he's a guard I want on my team because I think him going to another team, it'll be better for him. Plus, it's a contract season. I just think Stan Van Gundy, he's not a player's coach, and I don't think he gets the most out of these guys. So if Lonzo Ball gets traded to another team, I think he takes the next step here in the NBA and for fantasy owners. But right now in fantasy, I don't think you got to break the bank to go out there and get him, especially with his horrible free throw percentage and field goal percentage this season. So Lonzo Ball, he's definitely a buy low candidate right now. The next guy's Morant of the Memphis Grizzlies. Morant, he hurt the ankle months ago, but luckily he came back. But now Memphis, they haven't played a ball game now since January 18th, where Morant came back in his second game. 17 points, 10 assists, 2 steals, a block, a 3-pointer, 75% from the foul line, and 50% from the field. So Morant, you know he was the Rookie of the Year last season. He's a great player, no doubt about it. And these games being postponed now for the last 10 days here for Memphis, it's good for Morant for that ankle to fully heal, hopefully, at 100%. And the Grizzlies, they don't play again to January 30th. And hopefully they're back in time now and playing now and no more postponements. But Morant, his value's at its lowest right now. We saw him come back, like I said, for those 2 games. And now he's had an extra 10 days to rest the ankle to get it to hopefully 100%. And right now I would go out there and try to get him, especially if a Morant owner is frustrated that the Memphis Grizzlies haven't played in pretty much 2 weeks for the fantasy basketball season. And I think his value's at its lowest right now because he didn't go that off in the 2 games he returned. So I think you could get Morant at a decent price. The next guard is Russell Westbrook of the Washington Wizards. And Westbrook, he came off of injury as well the other night. And Washington, it's good to see them playing their ball games now. And Westbrook on the season, it looks good on paper, almost averaging a triple-double. 18 points a game, 9.7 rebounds, 10.2 assists, 1 steal, but an awful 5.2 turnovers game, 61% from the line, which is just horrible, and 37% from the field. On the season, he's ranked 237th, is Westbrook, and in the last 2 weeks, he's ranked 412 with 14 points a game, 9.5 rebounds, 6.5 assists, 5 turnovers, 1 3, 50% from the foul line, and 35% from the field. So Westbrook, he's getting those triple-double type of numbers, but everything else he's hurting you in field goal, free throw, and turnover percentages. But Westbrook, and he can't shoot the three ball. But Westbrook, he can't be any worse than he is now at these percentages. Last season, he shot 47% from the field, and now he's at 37 and 61 from the foul line this year, where he was 76 last year. So I think it's a shooting slump for Westbrook. His points per game are down 9 points per game as well, and I think he's just got to get it going with this Washington team. And this team, they haven't played many games together. They missed 2 weeks as well, waiting for the games and being postponed. And Westbrook, since he came back, the last 2 games, January 24th versus San Antonio, 9 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 turnovers, 50% from the foul line, 27% from the field. And last night in a bad loss versus Houston, his former team, where him and John Wall, the 2 guys who got traded for each other, were drawing at each other the whole ball game. 19 points, 11 rebounds, 7 assists, 6 turnovers, a 3, 50% from the line once again, and only 41% from the field. So Westbrook, like I said, you could buy him low, I believe, now, because a lot of managers, they're frustrated with the turnovers and the bad percentages, even though they're almost getting a triple-double nightly from him. So I think you could buy him definitely on the low and wouldn't have to give up much for him. And the 5th and final guard I would look to try to trade for this week's R.J. Barrett of the New York Knicks. Barrett, he's been on this list a couple times this season, and he's had a decent year, I believe. He's 164 on the season ranked, 17 points a game, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 1.1 threes, 1.8 turnovers, 74% from the foul line, which isn't great, and 42% from the field on the season. But the last 2 weeks now, he jumped up to the 92nd ranked player in this 2-week span, going 19 points a game, 5.9 rebounds, 3.4 assists, 1.5 threes, nice 82% from the foul line, and 51% from the field. So Barrett, he's starting to be more efficient. He's starting to hit more three-pointers as well for this Knicks team. And he's probably the second or third best player, I would say, on this Knicks team, behind Julius Randle and possibly Mitchell Robinson, and then Barrett as the third guy. But Barrett, he's scoring the basketball pretty well this season. And last year he was a rookie, but now in his second year, we're starting to see some better shooting performances, especially from the foul line. Last season he was only 61%, and this year he's at 74% is Barrett. And even his field goal has gone up each and every week, it seems like. So Barrett, I think he's going to be fine, and he's a player I would definitely try to have on my radar and trade for. I don't think it's going to be a king's ransom to trade for him. Probably a 1-for-1 deal, like a Blake Griffin maybe you could get away from, who a guy he's really struggling to trade for R.J. Barrett. So I think I could get Barrett on the low, and if not, if I get him at a normal price, he's still a player I think that could definitely produce and have a huge second half in the fantasy basketball season. So that's a few guards I would look to try to trade for or buy low here in Week 6 of the fantasy basketball season.